So, casual outfit of the day, and I mean very casual. Today has been, let me sit down and tell you about it. I just made some noodles, I put onions, asparagus, peppers, some chicken, and that's it. Asparagus, noodles, onions, and chicken. And then I topped it with avocado to get some healthy fats in there. I tell you today, people, you know those days? Do you know those days to where you get tested? Like, are you gonna freak out or are you gonna be okay? You know those days? Like, sometimes the universe will test us to see how far we are in our growth, to see if we're gonna be okay when basically a shit show happens. So what happened is, so they told me that I have pool guys that come and clean my pool once a week because I was seeing this like sand on the bottom and my robot was not picking it up. So I'm like, oh great, what am I gonna do? So I call and I find out there's this pool company that comes and they will clean your pool for you once a week or bi-weekly. So I'm like, okay, what the heck? What do I got to lose? My robot's not working. So, and it just so happened that this all happened when my friend Hillary was here. So literally when she came, there was sand on the bottom of my pool. And then I put this like algae remover stuff in there. And then that was also on the bottom of the pool. So it was like sand and algae. It looked awful on the bottom of my pool. So I'm hungry, so I'm just gonna eat as I talk. Should I raise this? I think I should raise it just a tad. Just a tad. Okay, I think that's good. All right, just so you can see the top of my head. Minded, I'm not looking that great today. This is just an outfit I threw on because I knew the pool guys were coming, and I also have an air conditioning story that I'll tell you. I need a video, and so it's like, just eat with me and listen to my stories, okay? So anyway, long story short, so when they came to clean my pool the very first time, they found that the sand filter that I had just replaced, I think 2 years ago, I literally have had to replace. Okay, this is a warning. If you buy a house and it has a pool on it, don't just trust the home inspector to do something about your pool, because he won't. You actually have to hire a pool guy, and my real estate agent didn't tell me this. You have to actually hire a pool guy to come over and check every single thing. So literally they had it up and running, so I thought it was okay. But then when I started it, the breaker out there didn't work. It wouldn't start up. What else? I bought it in March. So it was just, I think they just had the water in it, but they didn't have it turned on, kind of thing. So I didn't know. And so anyway, I had to literally replace everything when I first moved in, the first year. So not only was it so expensive to get into this home to begin with, because when you buy, I don't know if it's still that way, but when I bought this house, you needed to have the big down payment, you had to have excellent credit, you had to have all the work verification and all that, and then you had to, you know, have all the taxes and everything, and then you had to have, after you paid, and this, nobody told me this, after you pay your big down payment on your house, they bank checks and you have to have 6 months worth of bills in your bank account before they'll give you the loan. So it was a really, really, really stressful time because I had never bought a home before on my own. So luckily it all worked out, and I had been saving. I had learned to save for so long because at the last stages of my marriage, I was saving because I knew that I wasn't going to be there. I knew the marriage wasn't going to work. And so I learned to be able to budget and, live underneath my means and pay cash for everything. So I learned to save, in other words. So I had it in my bank, thank goodness. But anyway, so somehow, some way, I was able to replace everything and got the money to replace the new sand filter, replace the new pump, replace. Got it all up and running. Bought a robot. My first initial plug-in robot that I had when I first moved in broke. And then I bought a rechargeable robot, which has been really great. But again, it only picks up like leaves and stuff, like debris, like your, and then swishes everything around and picks it up and cleans the sides of the pool and everything, just like your net would do, for the top of the pool. So they came over first day, told me something underneath the sand filter, calibers, or I don't even know the verbiage. Something underneath there they were off center or something, so it was leaking sand into the pool, and also it was leaking sand when they backwashed it to the street, so he showed me. And then I said, well, let's just wait, because he said it's gonna cost over $1,000 to get it fixed, and I'm like, oh my God. Because you have to dump all the old sand, get all the parts that are on the bottom, you know, and then redo new sand, because you don't want to put old sand in there if you're going to go to that measure, and then just redo it. So I was like, let's just wait. Well, after they left a couple days, I noticed, I'm like, it's looking like there's algae on the bottom of my pool. And I took pictures and I showed him, and he goes, that's not algae, that's sand. Remember I told you about the sand filter leaking? And I was like, oh my God. So they're here today, right now. They showed up with 4 of them today. So 2 of the young guys vacuumed the pool and everything and got that all clean. And then now they're all working on the sand filter. Then a couple weeks ago, my air conditioner just stopped working. I'm like, what the heck? It's about to be 90, 100 degrees here. Well, there's no way, you know? And I have a little dog and everything. And so I was like, there's no way. So anyway, they came and fixed it a couple weeks ago, and then it worked for a couple days, and then it just stopped working. So I called the company back up and I said, you know what? I just paid over $300, you know, for this part that they put on there. I don't know why my air conditioner's not working, but it's 80 degrees in my house right now. And so and then I just said to the universe, I was like, you know, I started going, okay, the universe, show me that, you know, that it's going to be something that's not, because then they said, okay, it's going to be another $79 to come over, and then whatever part they find or whatever, then you got to pay that. So I started to freak out, because the pool and that, you know how you freak out when two big things happen at once, and you're like, oh my gosh. Because you know when you have a home, the things are going to happen, and that's why you save, and that's why you work and all of that. But when they happen at once and you're not expecting it, and then they happen again, and I just replaced the parts on the pool 2 years ago, and the furnace is like brand new before I moved in kind of thing, and you're going, already? Give me some time, I just moved in kind of thing. So anyway, they're probably going to want to talk to me here in a little bit, but if so, I'll put it on pause. So anyway, I just said to the universe, alrighty, universe, let this not cost me any money. And even I want you to waive the $79 to get over here, because I know that he just came here a week ago or prior, and he fixed it and he tested it, and so it's just got to be something simple. And sure enough, the same guy came back, and he's probably thinking, oh my gosh, you know, like, oh, this woman, because when they get called back on a job, you know, hopefully he doesn't get in trouble or anything. I don't think he will. But anyway, so what was it? Oh, so he came back over, and I told him the situation, that it was doing the same thing as when I called him before. And he said, okay, I'll check it out. And I said, is it maybe the Freon or something? He said, I'll check it out. Anyway, I was sitting on my couch with my dog, and I started feeling the cold air again, like, oh, finally. Because what it was doing, it was like blowing air, but it wasn't cooling anything off. So it was like, imagine like just blowing air from outside, but you know, just not doing, or blowing like this fan that doesn't have a coolant on it. It's just blowing air around. So I've had my ceiling fan, thank goodness. I opened up all the windows and doors at night, and then I would close them up in the morning, and it, you know, was able to keep it to 80. But yesterday it got up to like 90, 95. So when I got home, I left all day, and then when I got home, it was 80 degrees in here. So I just said, okay, I am gonna take, you know, I'm just gonna swim, because I know my pool is, even though it has some sand on the bottom, I'm gonna swim because that'll cool me off. And then it was the funniest thing. I turned on TikTok, because I'm like, okay, if I go live, I usually go live on TikTok. I'm weird. It's like I do stories on YouTube and videos, and then on Instagram, I do just Insta stories and pictures. And then on TikTok, I like to go live and videos. And if you need those links, they're up above under the about. I have all of that there, under the Linktr.ee. So those are where I go. And so I got on live in my swimsuit, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe I could just take them with me, because everybody always wants to see pool season. They always want to see the bikinis. I can't do bikinis on here, so I do it on Instagram and TikTok, and then obviously on my private pages also. So just so you know, so you don't request them here on YouTube, because then YouTube has guidelines, and I just stay on the community guidelines so that I can keep my channel up and running. So I go where it's accepted. And so I went on, I was on my beach ball, and I started talking to people, and then all of a sudden I was gonna swim, and then all of a sudden I heard lightning, lightning, lightning. And I'm telling you, it was in the like 90s, and lightning, lightning. And then all of a sudden this rainstorm came, and I'm like, it was so cool. So if you got that on live, good for you. I'm gonna try to find a way to download that. So, this is so good. Just noodles, asparagus, avocado, onions, and some peppers. Really delicious. Really filling. There's not a lot of juice in it. I put some juice in there to cook the asparagus, but it kind of dissolved from all the noodles, I guess, which is fine. It's summertime, so I don't need it real soupy. Now in the wintertime, I love the broth and everything because it's hot. But in the summer, it's kind of nice just to have it like Mongolian style, you know what I mean? So anyway, so best case scenario, I didn't have to pay anything for my furnace. He just gave me the paperwork and said, my bad. And now I've got air conditioning. The guys are fixing my sand filter so that doesn't leak back into my pool. So I should be able to regulate it myself now once I pretty much, or maybe I'll just do bi-weekly for them, and then I'll use my pool robot again. So the moral of the story is, no matter what happens in your life, there's always a solution, and it's always going to be okay. So rather than freaking out, like I used to freak out, like when I first got on my own and I wasn't used to paying for everything on my own, anytime I had to call the plumber or anytime I had some kind of crisis, I was like, oh my God. And so I would freak out. But now I'm so used to it, and I know that everything's always working out for me. So I know it's always going to be the best case scenario, because if you train your mind into that, as far as your life is going to be the best, your situation, you're always going to have favor and blessings, then you won't freak out. And then you'll keep that high energy so that the situation matches that. It always matches that. So if you freak out and you stay down in a lower vibration, then yeah, bad things are going to continue to keep happening to you. But if you can celebrate, even in what appears at the time could be a crisis, and then keep all your ducks in the row so you've got your, money to pay for things that come up, and live under your means, never live over your means. Pay off your debt as fast as you can. Cover all your security, like even with YouTube getting hacked, I had to hire a computer guy so I can get everything under control to where everything is as safe as I can get it, and I take all the safety measures, and he's taught me. So I learned a new skill, how your passwords, if you log on to something that has a virus, your passwords and your email gets sold on the black market to the highest bidder. And then people can go through, or bots or whatever, and hack your systems. So if you think Apple's safe, it's not. No computer is safe and no phones are safe. So now all you can do is get the safety precautions so that hopefully you can make yourself a little bit safer, and hire a computer. I've learned to stay in my lane too. My lane is just entertainment. So anything I don't understand, like the pool, like the air conditioner, plumbing, I hire it done, because it's going to be a disaster if I try to figure it out myself to try to save money. So stay in your lane with certain things that happen in your life. Cook what you're good at. Stay, do what you're good at, and then know that you're going to have help. Okay, I'm going to put this on pause. He wants to talk to me. Just a minute. Okay, so he's testing it out first before he puts the new sand in the big bucket thing or whatever, the sand filter, which I appreciate. And then he's going to add pea gravel in there. There wasn't enough pea gravel, so he's following all the protocols. And he's a new guy that I hired instead of my older one, because I had a feeling that, how you have a feeling you start having problems, like some people don't always stay in their lane, like I said, and maybe he had never done a sand filter before and didn't know, or didn't read the instruction, or was in a hurry. I'm not putting any blame on anybody. I'm just saying that sometimes stuff happens. So anyway, it cost me nothing for my air to get fixed, except for 2 weeks ago. And I can tell this guy is, he's going to do a good job, and he's going to do it right. And so I'm really grateful. And he showed up with 4 guys today. And that is awesome. That's what you want. So they got here at like 12 and they're done by 3. And they did a lot. They cleaned it. They're going to get rid of stains on my pool and make sure all the chemical, everything is balanced, and got the water in there, and going to haul the sand away, which the other guy did not haul the sand away. I remember my daughter came to visit, and I'm like, well, they said they couldn't haul the sand away, and so we're out there with a hose trying to just, get the hose to melt underneath the deck, because we were like, what are we going to do with all this sand, So best case scenario is everything is getting fixed at my house. And you know what, I was sitting down meditating today, because this is another thing I do so I don't freak out, because when you're learning all these new skills and you're learning how to be a boss ass biatch in your old age, and you were married and he paid the bills and you couldn't hire anything done and you had to wait till he fixed everything because we couldn't afford it. And then all of a sudden you start making money and you start having a business and you start buying a home and having things break and you're all alone, and you realize how cool it is. So if you want to look at the positive of all this, how cool is it to be able to call a number and say, hey, I'm having problems with my pool. I need it to be vacuumed, you know, and could you come over? And they come that week and set you on the weekly schedule until you do the bi-weekly. And they find the problems, they fix the problems. My air conditioner, you call somebody, I have the same people that come out, they know the problems, there's notes, da-da-da-da-da. And the same sprinkler guy. However, I need a new sprinkler guy because I have some, sometimes you have to change because sometimes they're flaky or sometimes they're too busy. So you have to know. So I need a new sprinkler guy because I have a couple sprinklers that need to be resolved and fixed and stuff. And so anyway, moral of the story, everything is always working out for me and everything is always working out for you. So believe and you shall receive. Actions, have your words and then have your actions match. And you can tell when you have workers, you can tell the thorough ones that explain everything versus the ones that are just like throw it together, okay, done, whatever. You can tell. And I used to get so intimidated because I'm a woman. Are they gonna overcharge me because I'm a woman? But I call them back if they don't do something right. And I'm on it. And I make it clear that if you don't do a good job, I'll fire you and get somebody else. I say it right in front of them. And their goal is to get the business because they want to keep having the business so that their company stays good and good standings and all of that. So don't be afraid to verbalize what you need to accomplish. I told them, if you guys do good, I'll fire the other, guys. And if they're giving me a bid that costs, they're not only good, but if they give me a bid that costs less than what they charge to close my pool up or open up my pool, then of course it's a no-brainer. So, and same with hairstylists and nail people. Like my nail lady, I was dreading going in there, and I'm just like, oh, I'm over it. I think I'm just over it right now. So I took my nails off, and I know they don't look as beautiful, but I have to tell you, I feel so free. I can play in the dirt and feel things and see my nails, and it just feels so good to have my own nails. And same with my hair. I've been just kind of taking a break and doing it myself, and it just, sometimes you just need to just take a break from, and then it kind of works out because I took a break from my nails, took a break from my hair, and now I'm doing the pool, and had to do the air. And so do you see how it all just somehow seems to balance at the exact right time? So trust and receive. And I'm going to go because me and eating, I never can eat and just eat. I need to just eat, but I have so many stories. You're like my best friends, and I just want to talk to you and say, this is what's been going on in my life. But you better believe I'm going to sit and eat all of that. I got my ice water. And then I'll probably, now that everybody's gone and my air conditioner is working, I probably will go out and meditate for 10 minutes on the front side of me naked, and then on the back, I probably can't say that word, and then the front and the back for 10 minutes on each side in my birthday suit. And then I got the greatest news ever also. It's like, hi bestie, I just want to tell you everything. I don't have anybody to tell her all the stuff to. So hi bestie. I wish, feel free to tell me all your stuff too down in the comments. What's been going on with you, bestie? Are you okay? Are you all right? Is everything all right? Hopefully my positiveness will rub off on you and you will feel better than you did before after watching my videos, because that's always my goal, always and forever, that we can be on here and we can be besties, and you'll always feel better after being with me than you did before, right? Even if we can't eat together, we can always talk together and drink together. Cheers. And if you want, you can pretend this is a beer, because look, doesn't this look like a beer mug? I think it is. My grandma, when I was growing up, she used to keep these in her freezer. And then, because her husband he was Italian, and he loved them all frosty. And then he'd get home and she'd take it out of the freezer, pour a beer in there and hand it to him after a hot day, and he would just be in heaven. He'd go sit out in the backyard with his hose. That was his therapy for some reason. He had his beer, his cold beer. He was a railroad engineer, so he'd work all these hours and then he'd have like 6 days off in a row. He'd have his beer, he'd have his cigar. And for some reason, I thought they had sprinklers, but maybe they didn't. Maybe it was back in the day when they didn't have sprinklers. And he had this beautiful yard. It was immaculate. It was impeccable. Everything green and luscious and beautiful. And he would just sit out there all night instead of watching TV or getting on. I don't even think phones were a thing back then. He would just sit out there and have one of those hoses that would just go really far, and he would just water his yard, smoke a cigar, drink his beer. My grandma would make his favorite meal, and sometimes he'd come in to eat, and some other times he would just eat it out there. I mean, it was just magical. Just the simplicity of doing what you love and loving what you do and not caring who cares. If you guys, I say this over and over again, the successful thing we're all searching for in life is to find out what we're good at and figure out a way to get paid for it. In addition to that, when we're not working, find the things that make us happy, even if it seems weird to somebody else, because that was his happy place. So there's times when I remember my grandpa, and I'll do that. I'll sit out in my front and I'll just take the hose and do that, and I'll be like, this is for you, Grandpa, because he just loved that so much. And it's kind of like what we do for meditation now these days. We either listen to sound baths music, or we listen to meditation music, or we just get in our chair and get still and listen outside. We listen to the birds and nature, the sound of the air conditioner, thank you God, the sound of the fan, the sound of the refrigerator. You focus on whatever is gonna make you peaceful. And that becomes your happy place. And that centers you for your happy life. Do you see how simple this is, guys? Once you direct the energy within to cope with all the things that are going to happen in your life, you have the strength and the centeredness, and breathe, to live your happy place every single day and live below your means, so that you don't stress yourself out to the max because you're not sure how you're gonna pay for all these toys that you thought you needed that will never make you happy anyway. Sometimes I say, why do I even have a pool? Because they're so expensive. But that's my happy place. I'm a mermaid. In my heart of hearts, I feel like I'm a mermaid. So that's why I pay for it. Because at the end of the day, or when I'm working or whatever, or when I want to have some social time, and it's summer and it's 90 degrees, I go out into my pool and I float around like a mermaid, and I just feel amazing, because not only is it the best workout in the world, because it's such, just the resistance of the water, especially, why do you think there's old people yoga class, you know, like fitness yoga in the pool, aqua yoga, aqua Zumba. I've always wanted to have like a class like that and have all the girls come over and let's do, you know, let's get physical in the pool. But I just never seem to be able to find all my people. But I know that in the future that's coming. My tribe is coming, and I'm going to be able to have those like-minded people that we're going to be able to get in the pool and do that kind of stuff. And I'm going to be able to share it. Not only is that going to be amazing, but my niece's daughter, she asked me this year, Auntie Ursula, she said, I have somebody who's going to teach my daughter how to swim. Do you mind if we use your pool to do swim lessons? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Of course, it's like my honor, because I don't have any grandkids so that are around me or anything. So, I mean, what? I'm so like honored and flattered. So see, when you stay in your happy place and you focus on things that are working for you and stay in your lane and do the quiet meditation and get the 8 hours of sleep, at least 8 hours to sleep every single night, and do the exercise programs that work for you, even if it's just walking. There's some days that's all I can get done is walking, but at least I walked with Bella, at least. You know, because sometimes when things are going, there's a lot of things going on, you can't get to all the things. But I don't beat myself up, and I get to the gym when I can get to the gym, and I do what I can do at my age, and it is what it is. It is what it is. Instead of going, oh my God, I'm so go, wow, I am gonna be 54, and I feel and look pretty darn good for my age. So I'll take it, even if it's not a size 2. I'll take it, because every day I wake up and I'm alive. And that's how you have to think about life. So I hope this motivated you today. You know that I'm a motivator. I did my first 10-minute motivational video to where you just like lay back, breathe. Yeah, I'm starting to be that kind of girl. So I may open up another channel for that, because I know that that'd be too much for this channel, because some of you guys are just here to see what I'm going to be wearing, right? So change is inevitable and change is coming. And so embrace the change, whatever it is, and whatever makes you happy in your heart. Do it. At any age, do it. Okay? So thank you for subscribing, thank you for liking, thank you for sharing, thank you for commenting, and thank you for just being you. Like, if you made it through this whole video, I love you, thank you, and have a beautiful day.